Hey, it's Amy. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to share how I use Garmin Connect to keep track of my training and overall health. As well, I'll share my favorite features and why I use it more than Strava. But first, it really helps out my channel when you click the subscribe button. And if you don't want to miss out on any videos that I post, click that bell icon too. So let's talk about Garmin Connect. My husband and I got a SodaStream for Christmas and it's been so great. It's also been very helpful in my goal of trying to keep hydrated. And we got the bubbly flavors to put in it. So good. I used to love Strava, and don't get me wrong, I still do, but I'm finding that I use it less and less, or more like go on it less. I've had a trial of the premium version of Strava and it was nice, but then I realized that I could get most of the features through Garmin Connect for the wonderful price of free. But don't get me wrong, I still use Strava. I mainly use it to keep track of what workouts I did, how many kilometers I have on my shoes, and then I can kind of give kudos and see how my friends are doing, especially now a lot of them are in Toronto, so it's just a great way to, keep in contact or connected with those friends. As I mentioned, I don't find myself going on it as much as I used to because I know better, but it's so easy to fall into the trap of comparing yourself to another runner and seeing how they crush their workout and just questioning why am I struggling so much and why are they not struggling? But again, you never know how they're actually doing. But anyways, it becomes this kind of vicious cycle. So this is why I mostly look at Garmin Connect now. Garmin Connect has a lot of really cool features and I'm learning more and more about them. So I wanted to use a recent workout that I did as an example and show you what metrics that I look at. So the first thing I look at were my paces. So it gives you your average and your best pace, which is kind of cool, but I really like looking at the kind of breakdown of my paces, and you can kind of see here on the screen, you can see my warm-up, but I really like that you can click all or you can just click run and it shows you just the times that you were running or doing your workout. When you program your workout, you can kind of change it into run and recovery, and maybe I'll do a separate video about how to program workouts. If you want that, please tell me in a comment below. But as I was saying, I can just see now that I click run and I can just see the times that I was doing my workout. So this was a little slower than I wanted to, but at the same time it was feeling like I think minus 22 or something awful like that, and a little bit windy, but excuses away, I did it by effort and I'm still really proud of the paces that I did. But you can see that you can click run and it shows you that, or it can just show you warm up or your cool down or your rest time. So that's something really cool that I like, seeing the breakdown of my laps or my kilometers or sections that I ran. So the first thing I look at are paces, and the really cool thing is if you go to the next spot over, you can see the paces kind of graph, and you can kind of see where you did the workout or when your paces got faster and slower. So that's really cool. I think the graph is really nice, and you can kind of see even within the graph, or like the spikes that like this kind of dips, or where you kind of slow down or sped up a little bit in your pace or in your workout segment, in your interval. That's the word. The next thing I look at is my heart rate. Again, it gives me my average and my highest heart rate. I like to look at the graph and it kind of shows you kind of where it dips below. You can kind of see this one that it goes really low. That was when I stopped to do some drills before the workout. So my heart rate obviously lowered because I wasn't running. Then you can kind of see the graph that go up and a little down when I had my minute and a half recovery, and then up and then down again. So that's pretty cool. And with your heart rate, you can also see the times you spend in your heart rate zones. Garmin uses calculations to get your heart rate or your zones, but you can also change your heart rate zones if you know more specifically, like my zone 1 should be this, my zone and your maximum heart rate is over 200 or under 200, so you can kind of adjust those. For me, the numbers were pretty accurate of what I've kind of noticed in my run, so I didn't change them. The next metric I like looking at is the training effect. It's really interesting seeing kind of how each run affects your fitness. And what I mean by that is if you see the training effect, it says 4.0 in this time in aerobic and 0 in anaerobic. And if you kind of look into it further by clicking help, you can see that training effect is measured from 0 to 5 and tells you how a specific activity has impacted your overall training. So that's cool. So in general, a higher training effect number indicates a stronger impact on your fitness, to a point of course. So the aerobic training effect uses your heart rate to measure how the accumulated intensity of an exercise affects your aerobic fitness. It also indicates if the workout has a maintaining or improving effect on your fitness level. Steady workouts at a moderate effort or workouts involving longer intervals, less than 180 seconds, have a positive impact on aerobic metabolism and produce an aerobic training effect. Wow, I really wanted to read that because I don't know, when I was starting to run, I didn't know the difference between aerobic or anaerobic and all those big words. So aerobic means with oxygen, anaerobic is without oxygen. So I always think of anaerobic in my like really fast or really short intervals when I'm really pushing it, and aerobic more in the kind of easy runs or just the longer efforts. Anaerobic training effect uses heart rate and speed or power to determine how a workout affects your ability to perform at a very high intensity. Kind of what I was saying. Repeated high intensity intervals of 10 to 120 seconds have an especially beneficial impact on your anaerobic capacity and result in an anaerobic training effect. So the training impacts are broken into anaerobic, which is sprint or anaerobic capacity, or high anaerobic, which is VO2 max, threshold and tempo, and low aerobic means base or recovery. So for example, the workout that I recently did that we're looking at, the primary benefit was the tempo. It says this activity enhanced your ability to maintain a moderate pace for a longer amount of time. It increased your high aerobic training load. A moderate effort, I think, I don't know, during those 4 minutes, it was starting to feel pretty hard, so I wouldn't say it's moderate, but it was a longer effort, like it was longer than a kilometer, so to me, that makes it more of like a tempo workout rather than like a 2-minute really short fast interval. I think this is probably one of my favorite things to look at other than like the paces and heart rate, so really cool. Another metric that I like to look at is my cadence. I like looking at my cadence on my easy runs, but especially during my workouts. I'm looking at my cadence and you can see the dot line is 200 and you can kind of see where it goes up and below that. See when I click the pace on the bottom that it shows that my cadence stayed high for the fast parts of my run, which is my intervals or the 4 minutes in this case. If you're looking at your cadence and you see that it kind of declines or gets slower at the end of your speed interval or whatever distance that you're doing in speed workouts, it might indicate a deterioration of your form. So that's really helpful because if you know that, you can really focus that on the end of your workouts is to try to keep your cadence going, and that actually might help you run faster and not slow down. It's all connected, and even during your easy runs, if you notice that your cadence is getting sluggish near the end, it just, again, it kind of indicates maybe your form is suffering. For the most part, I have a fairly high cadence, so in this work it says that I did an average of 196 or 224 SPM. And cadence is the number of times each foot hits the ground during a minute of running activity. It's measured in steps per minute. They always say, oh, 180 is the perfect cadence, and people who have higher cadences are more elite, but I know a lot of runners, especially taller runners, tend to have a slower cadence. I think the main thing cadence shows is like your form. And with a slower cadence, it could indicate that your running economy could be improved and that it could be easier to run or less energy to run with a slightly higher cadence. But again, I'm not going to go into too much more detail, but for me, I just want to see if my cadence dips down after, during a workout, and that could be an indicator for me to remember not to lose form at the end of my workout when I'm really tired. As I kind of showed you already, I really like that you can look at each one. So for example, let's look at pace, and you show the graph. You can kind of layer it with different metrics. For example, if I click the bottom here, it shows the elevation in relation to my pace, and then heart rate, and then cadence, temperature, and performance condition. Really cool. And then with everything else other than pace, you can also see your lap average pace. So that's another really cool metric. And I just think it's really cool because it all works together. For example, you can see when my paces got faster, my heart rate got faster. I know it seems simple, but it does make sense. It's just a really cool thing just to see kind of the graph of your heart rate and pace, or just the temperature, and just, again, how they affect each other. Another cool feature about the Garmin Connect is My Day, and that's like the first thing or the main screen on the Garmin Connect. You can change what you see on the My Day depending on what metrics you want to see. I haven't really done that as I like seeing them all, but one of the ones I really look at is sleep. The sleep tells me how many hours I slept in the night and can kind of make sure that I'm keeping track of getting enough sleep. It shows you the different stages of your sleep. You can see here the deep, the light, the REM, and the awake. So I slept at this time 9 hours and 1 minute. Wow. It was really nice, not gonna lie. It also gives you your sleep score. Mine was 79 out of 100, which was fair. So that means although you slept long enough, you did not get enough sufficient deep sleep. Recalling memories and concentrating may be more challenging today. Your stress levels may have impacted your sleep quality. Try to relax before bedtime to boost overnight recovery. Another metric that I like to look at is my average heart rate. The heart rate is so important because it can actually indicate a few things. For example, if you have a slightly elevated heart rate, it could indicate that you're not recovered enough, or you may be fighting something like an illness. As well, after doing a big effort like a marathon, your resting heart rate is a good indicator if your body is recovered enough to start, training and getting back into this swing of running and stuff. So I know what my resting heart rate is, and if I see any kind of abnormalities, there we go, that it gives me a good idea, like, oh, maybe I need to take a recovery day, or just to kind of relax a bit more. I don't know, there's just a lot of things that it could indicate. Another thing it's sort of on my day, but I have it on a tab on the bottom, and that is your menstrual cycle. And this is really cool for female athletes, as you can keep track of your cycle. I've talked about the menstrual cycle and how it affects female runners, and I'll have a link for that video in the description below, so feel free to check that out. I also like seeing on my day the training status. This tells me if I'm productive, unproductive, which is sometimes always what I see and it's really sad, or maintaining, recovery, or overreaching. There's lots of different ones. And I've, again, talked about this in my other Garmin videos, so again, I'll have links for those in the description below. I don't know why I'm doing this. And lastly, I like looking at the body battery. Body battery just basically tells you how much energy reserve you have. And this is based on, I think, stress levels, heart rate, sleep, and I'm sure lots of other things. So if I'm feeling drained, I kind of look at my body battery. I'm like, yes, it's a low number. I feel it too. Maybe you're not going to be able to hit your paces, or if you continually see your body battery just really low, that maybe you need to take a rest day or recovery day, or just relax, get more sleep. There's so many factors. I just like having all these different metrics, and I'm a nerd like that. I'm sure lots of you are like me. Please tell me I am not alone in all the data and information, but I just think this is just another thing really cool to know. I didn't go into everything that Garmin Connect does, but those are just the features that I really like and I really use, especially when I'm looking at a workout and the breakdown of all those metrics that I want to know personally. I know a lot of my friends use Strava Premium, and I'm sure it's awesome. Just for me personally, I've been really enjoying Garmin Connect and everything that it has to offer me. How about you? Do you use Strava Premium, or do you use Garmin Connect, or what do you like better? What are your favorite features? Let me know in a comment below. I hope running and training is going well, and if you like this video, tap that thumbs up button. Happy running and training, and I'll see you next time.